Hi, Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Fas-Top Pro Tonneau cover on our 2023 Ford F-150. Now this is going to be a great option if you're looking for something that's going to be adaptable over time. It's going to look good and it's just really easy to work with. So let's check it out. Now this is going to be a soft roll-up style and there's a lot of benefits to this. One, they're very lightweight and they're going to still prevent any water, ice, snow from really settling in your bed. The only downside is if someone really wants in here, they can come over here, cut this right open, grab what they want. But on the flip side, this versus a hard tonneau cover, there's a benefit to this. And if I unlatch these two sides and I roll this up, you're going to notice this takes up a lot less space compared to a hard tonneau cover. A lot of those hard tonneau covers are either going to take up a third of your bed or they're going to give you full bed access, but they're going to block your back window. This, we pretty much get almost full bed access without blocking anything back here. But let's talk about that space a little bit more and what this is going to take up in your bed. So we are going to have a bar that goes across here, and this is going to stick out about 3.5 inches. You can adjust that tonneau cover a little bit, but that's still a majority of our bed, and that's great, especially if you have a short bed like we have today. Now for the total distance underneath here, if you roll this out, I can roll it out just a little bit to get a better idea of what we're dealing with. We're going to have around 21 inches of space, so that's going to be good for most things we have back here. Now if you want a little bit more space, what's nice about this, like I said earlier, is going to be adaptable. So later on down the road, you can even add a truck topper to this. It's really easy to install and it'll be the same height as your cab. So if you have anything a little bit taller than 21 inches, it's gonna be able to work with that. And you can even put a ladder rack with that as well. But really what makes this kit super unique is gonna be the rails themselves. So the way they're gonna install is they're gonna clamp on here. And this is probably one of my favorite clamp-on installations because instead of some other ones where you have a couple settings you can adjust, this is just going to have one bolt that goes into place, and it does a really good job because a majority of our rail is just relying on our bed rails. So it doesn't take any time to put this on, and you don't have to make any modifications to your bed. And right in front of there, we're going to have the latch. This is what I used earlier to take it off. And with this latching mechanism, you can actually adjust these two bolts on it to slide it forward or back some to tighten and loosen your tonneau cover if it ever does adjust. And on the back side of it, we are going to have this hook and loop, and this does a really good job at keeping this into place. And if this ever does get damaged or worn out over time, you can actually get this replaced. And then when we do roll this out completely, you'll notice we do have these bars that go across, and those beams or bars are going to give us more tension throughout this. Because that's important, because once we latch it down at the very back of it, we hear this click into place, and this is going to help any type of water or snow that does pool up here run off to the sides, so this doesn't stretch as much over time. Then we can just come by to the sides and use those hook and loop fasteners to hold this in place. So overall, I think this is going to be a solid choice for our F-150 today. And that's going to be because it is affordable, it does look really good on here, and it's really easy to work with and adapt with you over time. Now if you do decide to go with this, let us know how it's working for you in either a comment or review. Now when it comes to the installation, it's actually pretty quick and easy to do. The first time can be a little bit confusing, but we have some tips and tricks to help you along the way. So let's jump to it. So to start off with, we can put on our rails. I already did it to the other side, but it's going to be the same process. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure it's in the right orientation. We want to make sure this latch is on the tailgate side. And the way this should sit on here is kind of just resting on your bed rails. You might have to hold it in place just a little bit. Once we get it there, we're going to slide it all the way back until it makes contact with the bulkhead side of your bed. Once we've done that, we can start grabbing our clamps. And before we get those clamps in place, you're going to notice we have some nuts, or square nuts, in this channel right here. So we want to put those into the correct spots. So if you look at your instructions, there's going to be some locations for your clamps to go. Clamp 1 is going to be closest to your bulkhead, clamp 2 in the middle, clamp 3 closest to your tailgate. So look in those instructions, they'll give you a measurement. And we're going to measure to the very front of our rail to where this needs to be. And we're just going to adjust this. It's in the right spot at each one of these locations. So we can loosely install our clamps for right now. So that's going to involve one of these bolts, a washer, and the clamp itself. That hole on there should be on the inside of your bed. Push that through here and line it up with that square nut. We're just going to thread it into place. If you got something in your way, because sometimes you might have some tabs, you can just adjust this a little bit so it does fit. So that's what I'm going to do in my case today. Once we get around them, we're going to repeat that same process for number 2 and 1. Again, we're just going to loosely install them for right now. I'm going to come back through. I'm going to go to point 3 and 2, and we're going to fully tighten those down. Clamp 1, we are still going to leave loose for right now. And we're going to do this whole process on the other side. So we're going to grab our tonneau cover now, and we're going to make sure it's in the right orientation. So right now I have mine buckled up. That buckle here should be closest to your bulkhead side. We'll walk it over here, and we're going to slot it. We have this opening. And there should be a little cutout where this sits. And on that cutout, there's going to be a hole. There's also going to be a hole right here. We want to line those up because we're going to make sure this is nice and centered. And we're going to do that to both sides. Once you get that roughly lined up, you might have to wiggle it around a little bit. Then you can come back through with some flange nuts that are going to come with your kit. And we're going to get underneath there and tighten them down.
Now, if you're kind of struggling getting this to line up, you might have to wiggle this as you're doing it, but it should grab on. I'm just going to hand tighten it first, and I'm going to do that to the other side. And now I'm just going to tighten it down. Just making sure it's nice and snug, like I did with the other hardware on here. And then I'm going to come to clamp 1 and then snug this one down too.
Now we're going to undo our buckles, and we're just going to make sure this tonneau cover feels good, and we don't have any issues rolling it out, that it's centered, and that it's going to latch properly. Should have a little bit of resistance when you lower it down. Hear that click. That sounds good. Everything is reaching over here how it should. And then what I like to do is just test that latch. And if it unlatches on both sides, it might catch again. And if it does, you might have to just adjust these latches. Again, you can loosen these 2 bolts, either push it closer to yourself or away from yourself, and that should adjust your fitment here. But with that done, that pretty much does it for the installation. And again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.